So there is a lot of doubt surrounding the future of the Dragon Ball series right now, especially that concerning the Dragon Ball Super Manga continuity. Of course, there's Daima slated to come out at the end of this year, and that mystery has caused a lot of speculation to go around, a lot of rumours to go around concerning the future of the series, so I thought we'd talk about it in this video. So with the passing of Dragon Ball creator Akira Toyama, who is many of our hero and idol, there is obviously a lot of grief and mourning still happening concerning the passing of somebody who really truly means a lot to us. But one thing I've noticed in the comment section recently are people having very differing opinions on the future of the Dragon Ball series. Now guys, it's important, before we delve into this discussion, I want to get as many opinions on this as possible because we are all grieving, we are all mourning, we all have our different traditions, we're all from very different cultures. Toriyama was global, his story was global. So I'm from the UK, on the opposite side of the planet to Japan, where we have very different traditions, very different way of dealing with things. And obviously you might be from the United States, India, somewhere in Europe. I want to know what you think should happen with the future of the Dragon Ball Super manga. Should it continue past this point and go even into future arcs and beyond the end of Z? Or should it wrap up now and cancel because Toriyama is no longer there to, I guess, give his seal of approval to Toyotaro's work? Drop your thoughts down in the comment section. Of course, there is more to this video. I'm going to give my perspective. We are going to talk about it a little bit. And they are mainly concerning the likes of Dragon Ball Daima, which we know Toriyama works heavily on and is coming this fall. And obviously Dragon Ball Super, the manga adaptation, which we know Toriyama worked hand in hand with Toyotaro. And obviously from this point on, Toyotaro will have to continue solo on his own. It just makes me sad saying that. Many people are advocating that after Toyotaro has wrapped up this Goku vs Gohan sparring match and ends it in a poetic way with father vs son, Toyotaro should wrap up Dragon Ball Super, essentially retiring the Dragon Ball Super storyline as Toriyama is no longer involved. Of course, with Dragon Ball Daima, even if there was intentions to do series beyond the initial web series we were intended to get later this year, and obviously there's been news out now that it won't just be a web series, it will also be a TV anime series, and the amount of episodes and how long it will be is unknown. It will be on Fuji TV, which is where the initial Dragon Ball Z, GT, and Dragon Ball Super aired. So that's where all Toriyama's projects really were first aired in animation form. Of course, we know Toriyama wasn't really particularly involved in the anime, but still it is once again a bit of a poetic space to release his final content essentially. Now in terms of what his input in the current Dragon Ball Super story is, like we've often discussed before on this channel, Toriyama likely is far more heavily involved in the Dragon Ball Super story than a lot of people give him credit for. It isn't like the Dragon Ball Super anime where he sent Toei bullet points and they basically just went from there. That's why the Dragon Ball Super anime and the manga are quite differing stories despite having the same narrative backbone. However, with the manga, we know that Toyotaro actually held meetings face to face, had a direct line to Akira Toriyama, and often had meetings with the likes of Victor Yoshida and discussed the plans for upcoming arcs and any ideas that they had, and basically then went on to, draw the manga, and it ultimately had to get the seal of approval by Akira Toriyama, with him checking it, correcting things if he didn't agree with it, and basically approving it before it went out. So essentially Toriyama was heavily involved, and the fact that I have to say was now and no longer is once again pretty damn sad. And obviously Toriyama created the likes of the Broly movie and the superhero movie and wrote them without the likes of Toyotaro, or at least from what we know, Toyotaro having any input, and Toyotaro is having to, I guess you could say, shoehorn them into his super story, even though it doesn't necessarily fit that smoothly, I guess you could say. But Toriyama's influence is all over Dragon Ball Super, even if you don't like the Dragon Ball Super story, which is absolutely up to you. I personally think it's better than it's given credit for. I have done a recent rerun of this series, the manga series, because I wanted to read it all in colour, and a lot of it is better than what I thought. I'm not saying it's perfect or brilliant, it has no problems, but I actually really enjoyed the rerun of the Dragon Ball Super manga. And more recently, there's been a lot of developments in the manga that are particularly exciting, and obviously the big bad that is likely coming up, even if he doesn't even end up being the next big villain of the next arc, is Black Frieza. People are assuming it's going to be the Black Frieza arc. Whether it will be or not, remains to be seen. Even if they are to go in that direction, I actually don't think it will be. I think there'll be somebody even stronger than Black Frieza that will be the ultimate villain of the next arc. But after Goku has finished sparring with Gohan, people are advocating for the fact that this is the poetic finish. It should finish with Goku vs Gohan. It's a nice ending, and it's Toriyama's final input. And obviously his other final input will be Dragon Ball Daima, which is a story he created. And then the Dragon Ball series should then basically go into retirement, and everything that we have should be ultimately all we get from Dragon Ball. No new material. But on a personal level, personally, I would like to see the Dragon Ball Super story continue. I do believe Toriyama handpicked Toyotaro to be his successor, knowing that this was going to be an eventuality. Obviously, Toriyama was 68 when he passed away. Not too old, still relatively young, but not the youngest. And he has pointed out as well in his speech at the Anime Awards that, his health was a concern to him. So naturally, it's quite likely that passing over his work and his wisdom and potential future plans in terms of his vision for the Dragon Ball story over to his protege, who's worked for him for circa a decade essentially, is quite plausible. And I really don't want to get into the speculation area, but even other people, including his assistant, have pointed out that he may have had a brain tumor and had an operation on a brain tumor earlier this year. And even Koyama pointed out that Toriyama was supposed to have been ill last year. So this may have been something on the cards for a while, and maybe Toriyama started to make preparations, has given more input into the series, knowing that this is the eventuality that would soon come to pass. But as I said, Toyotaro was handpicked by Toriyama. It does, to me, seem to be that the will of Toriyama was that Toyotaro continue his story in Toriyama's world, which, like I pointed out in my tribute the other day, Toriyama's world, his verse, is immortal. It's the true genius of Toriyama, and I think other people should get to tell a story of a character, or even Toriyama's characters, in Toriyama's world, because we all know what Toriyama's work is, and anybody who doesn't will eventually find out who Toriyama is through other people's work, through the stories and values being retold throughout generation plus generation. I'd love it if in 40 years time there's still kids tuning in to watch Dragon Ball, looking it up on the web or whatever technologies around at that time to find out about Akira Toyama. That is a true homage to Toriyama in my opinion, but you may have a different opinion and I fully respect that. So let me know your opinions down in the comment section. Should Dragon Ball Super continue beyond this current Gohan verse Gohan spar, or beyond this current arc that Toyotaro seems to be leading up to, and that seems to be something to do with Black Frieza, or should it get to the end of Z? Want to know your thoughts down in the comment section. Please be respectful of each other. This is a time of unity when we've all come together. There is no need to go to war with each other. We all have the same love and adoration for Akira Toyama. But given Daima will likely be a one season thing now for certain, even though it may have been anyway, but I think it really will be now. Should the Dragon Ball Super Manga story finish as is now? And it is right before the end of Z, to be fair, but that would mean we get no Black Frieza arc, and it would feel like a bit of an unfinished story. But I want to know your thoughts down in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Stay tuned, because chapter 103 is coming out and I will be covering it in detail. I'm really looking forward to this, seeing some of Toriyama's final works. We are blessed. Peace, love and ki. Until next time, Ad Astra.